Welcome to Hue at Home. I'm Tracy Koga. Well, it's not hi, how are you doing? It's hi, have you had your vaccination yet? That is the biggest question everybody's asking. So, have you? We'll have a little bit more about the vaccination rollout, who's getting vaccinated, what kind of vaccine you're getting, with a clip from our Hue Virtual Chat. But right now, we're going to go to my good friend in Edmonton, AV. She's been doing a bit of gardening, but besides that, she has this great song that not only brought her community and neighborhood together, but is really giving hope and that everybody matters. So here she is, AV, in our conversation on Hue at Home. Well, fresh from the garden, I want to give a big welcome to AV. I know it's hard, right, with all of these Zoom meetings and Zoom invites and everything virtual, and I know, and we just want to get back to normal, right, AV?
Yeah, whatever that is, but yes.
I know. So, okay, so let's get down into it. And you're in Edmonton. Um, Winnipeg here, we're kind of looking at a third lockdown. Everybody's, pretty much had it up to here with restrictions, but
Yeah.
the vaccine rollout is rolling out. How's it in Edmonton? Where are you guys at?
Well, I haven't checked the news today, but it's not good. I know
Yeah.
that already, and including that we can't even do outdoor performances, which is kind of what I was gearing up for, like even just doing one on my front porch because I did a whole bunch last year.
Yes. Yes.
And I was just talking to somebody on the phone about that this morning because, that was the one thing left that we could kind of do.
I
And even that's
know.
not possible right now. So I mean, yeah, I can't speak for everybody in Edmonton, but I think generally people are just like, oh my God, like I thought by now, I don't know. I think it's just fatigue with it all.
I know.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
pretty scary. It's
Yeah.
pretty scary. And we definitely need to keep hanging in there. And I don't
And
know, at least the weather is starting to be nice.
well,
That's one saving grace. Like
yeah.
having to visit all those people going on walks when it's minus 30 is not a really fun visit,
No.
you know?
No.
I,
No.
so I'm kind of like very hopefully forever done with having to visit people that way.
Yes. Well, and
Yeah.
you know what? Everybody's had their own moments of darkness, but then also moments of brightness. And you had spoken about doing home concerts, and that was a huge impetus for this great video. And I think that's what really caught my eye and the whole message behind it. Everybody matters. And then there is like a very compelling story that involves a personal story for you too.
Hmm.
So let's share that story.
Well, if the story, well, so of course, like many musicians, I was going to be touring a lot in 2020. And of course, then that wasn't happening. So I, um, in April, it had been a month or two since I had had a show at that point because all my March shows were canceled as well. Can we talk? And so then it was a nice day, and I thought I would just like have a house on a pretty busy foot traffic street in my neighborhood. And I went on the balcony and just set my keyboard up and played a couple songs. And I had messaged a few neighbors that I'd be doing that. And um, normally, I think if I would do that, it wouldn't be a big deal. But there was literally nothing else for anyone to do at that point.
Wow.
So I had an audience on the street of people in masks. And then, so then I thought, it felt good. Like I just felt good to perform again and to connect, as weird as the connection was, like seeing people in masks, I wasn't used to yet, and all that. Anyway, long story short, I did the next week and the next week, and it kept growing. And then eventually I moved onto the balcony, from the balcony to the porch. And my friend Jojo, who sings backup harmonies with me, joined me because the porch is wide enough that we could be physically distanced from each other. And next thing you know, we had a band, and then we had other bands too. Like we had a festival lineup kind of thing. And, a couple of times we had catering from the neighbors, and it sort of turned into a thing every Sunday that we did not miss a Sunday in 26 weeks and 6 months.
Oh my
And the
goodness.
weather miraculously cooperated every Sunday. Like there was a couple of cold ones and a couple of iffy ones, but mostly we were very it just lucked out every week that
That
we had good
yeah,
weather.
yeah.
Yeah.
And in the neighborhood too, the people there. I mean, it's inner city, correct? Macaulay was the
Mhm.
area.
Yes.
Yes, and so that's poverty, homelessness,
Yeah.
depression, a lot of mental health issues. Uh, what was kind of the reaction? Well, you've sort of mentioned it, but the reaction for the music and for this kind of community and gathering at a concert, and the joy I would think of seeing live music would bring.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was I learned a lot this year about myself and about the neighborhood. The neighborhood had a lot to teach me, as it turned out. And actually, my whole album that I sort of gradually releasing, and this song is the first single of it, was inspired by the neighborhood even before the pandemic came out, because the album was supposed to come out a year ago already on tour.
Yes.
So,
Oh.
um, but yeah, I've lived here for 13 years, and as you mentioned, it's a neighborhood very notorious for its the opioid crisis has been really bad here, and there's a lot of homelessness and a lot of addiction issues and mental illness, like you said. Um, and just the stigmatization of people who have those issues. We all have different issues in life, but those particular ones seem to be very dismissed and or um, just thought of negative in a very sort of disrespectful way by a lot of people in our society. And that doesn't make it any easier for people, and they have to go through all sorts of other things based on the fact that their illness isn't really recognized in the same way as other ones. If you had cancer, if you had a broken leg or something.
Right.
So that's definitely been on my mind for so long. And then when this happened, the porch concerts, I hadn't really put any thought into anything more than I want to play. I'm a musician, that's what I do. I'm doing it. But because of it being located in the neighborhood that it is, two things happened. One is that uh, people from outside of the neighborhood started to find out about them and come with their lawn chairs and their little picnics or whatever. And then other people in the neighborhood were coming that were just walking by, of all walks of life. The neighborhood is super diverse, and there's Buddhist monks and people pushing shopping carts and people of all ages and all religions and from all countries. And so, but the most interesting thing that I started to see is that the neighborhood on people in my street started taking pride in that they were helping clean up the streets. There's a lot of garbage in my street always. They started mowing the lawns and putting social distancing markers up for me. I started doing it, but they started doing it, and they would change it up every week. Like one week it was Canada flags for Canada Day, whatever. And so that was a change, because it's hard to have pride in your neighborhood when you see so much sort of sad things. So um, it ended up being sort of a thing where people were showing off the neighborhood, like all these people are coming from the whole city to here, instead of this being the place where people kind of get given to. Now we were giving to the rest of the city. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. As a place of people running away from it, they're now
Yeah.
coming to it.
And the other thing was that, yeah, then there were all these different people of diverse income levels and all the diversity of every way that you could describe it, all sort of sitting together in the same 2 meter apart section of boulevard grass. And it was sort of an equalizer, like we're all in this together. This is one pandemic. The pandemic is. And then thirdly, I think what was interesting is that so many people in this neighborhood have such huge health issues and issues of trauma every day by having to find drugs that aren't legal and how to get the money for it, and just the life that you have to lead is so traumatizing that a pandemic on top of it all is kind of almost like an afterthought. Like, oh yeah, there's a pandemic. Like, whereas other people that were coming were like, oh my God, my perfectly planned out life has an element without control in it for the first time ever, for some people. And there is kind of like the pandemic for some people was like the biggest thing in their lives, like that had ever happened.
Yes.
That wasn't I don't know, they'd never been in a war, or like that kind of thing. So in a way, seeing a whole bunch of people who have a harder life kind of just, okay, and one more thing, I got to wear a mask. Okay. And it was sort of like, it was actually, yeah, it was, in a way, again, people sort of flipping this script and being taught, who was being taught and who's learning was often, I think, not what you would have, how it's traditionally seen in maybe a sort of colonial attitude.
Well,
So that was cool.
I mean, it's amazing how much one song can have over people. And just to point too, I think in the making of the video, you shot it at your house, right, and included
Yep.
people from the neighborhood, which is so beautiful. And I mean, a sense of pride all around. I guess moving forward now, AV, music-wise, I mean, you've always been a great storyteller. You've always been a voice for the, bringing people up, a voice for the voiceless, if you want to say, and you've always, addressed issues. What's been the biggest issue for you in the last year and a half?
Oh, you mean me personally?
Yeah, personally.
I think honestly, it's really been bothering me, this whole sort of way that and the song is really the song is about, actually. It's been hard to rectify how our society, on the one hand, is very much about we got to be selfish and get ahead and get things for you and your money and your savings and you and selfies and me, and then on the other hand, supposedly be a culture that values equality and human rights. And of course, it's been the pandemic year, right? So it's the year of Black Lives Matter. It's so much racism, anti-Asian racism, anti-everything racism, and there's a lot of unresolved issues in the neighborhood of Indigenous rights. And that's all kind of swirling around this opioid crisis thing, which is kind of the symptom of it, in a sense, one of the symptoms of it. And so, yeah, I think for me, it's really been a time where I don't even know how we can possibly do this awkward dance anymore of like, oh yeah, I'm a good person, and not realize that the more affluence one person has, the less someone else has at some stage. And I don't think middle class people are so much to blame as just the whole structure of having certain people have made literally billions of dollars in this year, where others are not able to feed their families, and children starving, and refugees being created, so I think it's that. I think it's just that I don't know how much longer we can live that sort of hypocritical, absolutely not, it cannot coexist, but we have told ourselves that it can for so long, and I think we're at a point where we're just gonna have to say, no, it doesn't.
Wow.
It doesn't.
Well, I think that's your next song.
Maybe.
to prove it,
Yes.
to prove it, and to open
Yeah,
our
and
eyes.
I also of course realize that then you have to find out, like, you can't just tear something down. You have to have an alternative thing to give hope instead, because hope is another thing I learned about this year, like how much we need that.
Yes.
And so if you have to stay home for 3 more weeks, you need to have a reward it then. You need to have a carrot, like, okay, but then in 3 weeks you can have this or that, and so you have to give people something instead. And so that's really, I think, we've got to find leaders and systems that make it, and I think they're out there.
Yes.
So I didn't want to just leave on doom and gloom, but
well,
yeah.
I will do the dangling carrot part of this interview, because coming right up, you will see Everybody Matters from AV, a beautiful video, including stars from Macaulay in Edmonton. And thank you so much for, showing us, or shedding the light so the rest of us can see and, hopefully understand. That's what your concerts did, like you said. It brought people from all walks of life to enjoy music. And I think hopefully, no, looks like not this summer, but hopefully next summer, You'll come
Yes.
here, you'll perform at the Winnipeg
Oh,
Folk Fest, and
that would be awesome.
And you
I
will
know
have
it's
live
such a
music.
great festival. Like I've always yeah, we were talking before I
Yeah.
went to that festival a long time ago, kind of hitched my wagon to a performer that was performing, and it was so fun. It's such a great festival.
Well, hang on to those memories, AV. I know that they'll all come to fruition very soon. So I want to thank you and everybody. Here is Everybody Matters.
I will lift you up. I will trust your wounds.
We're here at the Legislative Grounds in Edmonton, where mere months ago people gathered to talk about equality and rights, and the message was loud and clear.
Creed or race, never. For to me, you are a human being, and
It was a beautiful, unifying moment that the colonial entities so graciously allowed everyone to have. For Channel 96 CHIT News, I'm Frank Lee.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from Treaty 6 Land, sometimes known as Macaulay, Edmonton. Everybody matters.
Everybody matters, no matter who you are. Some dive starvation, some get life support. Hey, everybody matters, so some a little more. 58 die here, 10,000 where it's full. Some make the headlines, others just the final door. Hey, everybody matters, just some a little more. So you want to see things for all ways it won't work here. Don't like slavery, cause I'll call that over there. Yeah, everybody matters, just some a little more, just to be clear. Some a little more. Who stopped you at the gate? Who let you through the door? So you gotta get ahead. You can feel it to your core. See it everywhere you look now. At the banks and the billboards, till you can build a millionaires. Some a little more. So you wanna be righteous. Some a little more. Follow the good Lord. Some a little more. Got peaceful. Some a little more. Achieved by the soul. Some a little more. Oh yeah, everybody matters. Some a little more. Just some a little more. Oh yeah, everybody matters. Just some a little more. Oh, everybody matters. In the eyes of the Lord. Oh, everybody matters. Just some a little, some a little, some a little. Everybody matters. Oh, some a little more. Everybody matters. Oh, some a little more.
what, say what, say what. Girl, you know what's up. Ooh, say what, say what, say what. Girl, you know what's up. I'm digging you. I'm feeling you. Girl, you know what's up. Say I'm digging you. And I'm wanting you. Tell me what's up. Tell me what's up. Girl, you know what's up. Ooh, say what, say what, say what. Girl, you know what's up.
We are talking about vaccines today, so I want to open up the doors to all of our beautiful, beautiful Hue Virtual Chat ladies, and I want to hear everybody's opinion. Oh, look at everybody's got sweaters on. Come on, Kirsten. Come on, be tough. I opened up my garage door today. Cynthia, it's snowing. It's just, no. I can't. Oh, and there's Robin. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, you can unmute yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, and let's get on with the topic. That's the topic, right, of everything. It's not, hi, how are you? It's, hi, have you been vaccinated yet? And which vaccine? And where did you go? And how long was the lineup? And who did you get the leftover shots? Ay. Well, I'm going to actually go to Cynthia first, since you are our great over the pond, across the pond correspondent, and I know you're light years ahead of us here in poor Canada. I mean, this is old news, right? Because almost everybody's vaccinated there, young and old.
Well, it is and isn't old news. I mean, there's still lots of the debate, I think, wherever it's going on. Yeah, I mean, they have hit, for those over 18, 65% of the adult population has now been vaccinated with at least one shot. The big effort's actually to get the second shots in the first group, which are the over 50s. And that I think takes them to about 27 million. And they're on 10.5 million today. And that only started 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
So, yeah. So now, rather than June for my second, which was an AstraZeneca shot, the first 24 hours you feel lousy, and then you feel fine. Yeah, so it looks like, most likely by May, I will actually probably gotten my second dose. So yeah.
Fingers crossed. Okay, so I'm curious now, because there's a big rush over here where we are, because they lessened it to 40 and over. So you'll have both your shots by May. So does that just take a huge weight off your shoulders, and you're just going to go running free and wild with no mask, or
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. So, I mean, I've had my one vaccine. Masks and social distancing or physical distancing are still a thing. They're still applied, and still with the hand washing or
hand sanitization.
Hand sanitizer gel, whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's just literally what you do everywhere you go.
Right.
No ifs, ands, or buts. It's just what you do into places. So, the rules did relax for outdoors. You can have up to 6 people from different households. So, right. I mean, I've been taking the train. London's only an hour away, so I've been going in and visiting friends. I've had a couple of folks come and visit me here in my town. So I have actually been meeting with people and so forth. And then there's the negotiation. So do you hug? Do we elbow bump? Do we just not do? And, that's really down to a personal preference. I am so starved for human touch that I offer a hug. But along with that is the UK government has also implemented, I can take 2 free lateral flow tests a week. So I'm now actually testing myself twice a week to make sure that with all my interaction, that I am not getting sick and become a carrier, even if I'm asymptomatic.
Truth be told, it was, okay, I have an option. If I get COVID because of what my heart condition is, chances are I'll die. And so it was kind of like I thought about it, because I had, I had some friends who, spooky friends, mediums, go, I don't know about this. And I was like, look, if I get COVID, I'm absolutely dead. So I may as well have a vaccine. And so for me, when I got offered it, like I went straight away to start finding out where I could get it. And there was, there is the hype about blood clots and this and that. And I'm like, you have a higher rate on birth control of getting a blood clot than you do on AstraZeneca. And I think like what highlights stuff for me is that we're watching for side effects of the vaccines, right? Everyone's cognizant of it, everyone's reporting it. But for flu or, any of the other vaccines, we're not reporting in the same way the side effects of it. So we're not actually cognizant of how much other stuff happens or other things. We're only keeping a close eye on it because it's brand new. And
I believe it was because there was a cancellation, because again, they're using the AstraZeneca vaccines, and because they have to be refrigerated or in the freezer, once the doses come out, unless you use all the doses immediately or within, I don't know how many hours or days or whatever, then whatever's left over has to be thrown out. And so what they're trying to do then in that case is try to get as many people in as possible. So I was able to get my vaccine, and I had no side effects at all. It didn't even hurt going in. And I thought, okay, did he actually put the needle in my arm? And I had someone take a picture of me with them giving me the needle, but my arm was not sore. I had no side effects at all. And I waited to think, okay, well, maybe I'll get side effects. I had none. I had more side effects from when I got the flu shot and had a sore arm. But I was happy to get it for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm in my early 60s, and even though I'm healthy, I don't want to take any chances. But there's also, I have a granddaughter who's 3.5, and my daughter's a nurse and said, basically, even with the flu shot, if you want to see your granddaughter, you make sure that you're getting your shots to make sure that you're healthy.
As I've said before, as I said on Twitter today, Gen X is going to save the planet once again. So yeah, go get your shots. Everyone's like lining up to get their fake ID for the bar, and we're all just like, woo, let's go. Yeah, I love it. I'm into it. Totally.
Oh, so no conspiracy theories for you then, right?
Tracy, have we met? Yeah,
I know.
I have no patience for that kind of stupidity. None. What was the great meme or saying that I saw the other day? The same people who think that the moon landing was fake think that we also had the technology to put DNA changing stuff in the vaccine. It's just wild. So yeah, I just laugh, and it's just like, yeah, no, I'm good. I will trust the scientists, and I will trust that we need this to get, to the other side of this pandemic. And hooray for medicine. It's why we're all here in some respect, and why our kids don't know about polio or measles or mumps or anything like that.
Welcome back to Hue at Home. Well, you've probably been spending a lot of time on the computer, pounding away at those keys. Your fingers get tired, and so do your hands. So coming up, Verde has the solution with Naomi. She'll show you some wonderful tips on hand massage to get them rejuvenated and beautiful once again. Looking to highlight your hairstyle with some glitz and glamour? Well, you'll love Birch accessories. They are unique in design and quality without the high-end price. Express your personal style to the world with these beautiful and affordable pieces. Order online at verdesalon.ca or birchaccessories.ca and use NEW10 for 10% off your first order.
Hi there, my name's Naomi and I'm a team member at Verde Salon. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a hand massage at home. So this is a really great way to relax and, incorporate some of the salon experience in your home routine as well. All right, so I hope you're gonna grab your favorite hand lotion and follow along with me. My favorite is Aveda's Hand Relief. So this one is the perfect consistency for a hand massage. It's not gonna leave your hands feeling sticky afterwards, so it's perfect. I'm just going to take a pea-sized amount, a little bit bigger maybe, depending on how dry your hands are, and massage that in, really working it into the fronts of your hands, the backs of your hands, between your fingers, and up onto your wrist as well. We want to get that nice and all over, so we're good to go for our massage. So we're gonna start off on the back of the hand with a nice big slow circles, and don't be afraid to use a little bit more pressure here, depending on what works for you. We're gonna start out with some nice wide circles and move up into the wrist with some smaller circles as well with our thumb, massaging towards the outside of our hand. And I really love this one because I feel like there's a lot of kind of small bones and muscles in your hands that don't necessarily get the attention they deserve. So next, we're gonna go through and massage down our fingers. So one thing that's nice to do here is move your thumb back and forth a little bit as you're going through and massaging down your fingers, and that one really feels nice. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other hand. So again, starting out with those big circles on the hand, moving up into smaller circles on the wrist. This is one of my favorite parts right here. And moving back down to finish, and going in and starting to do some of those fingers as well, going as slowly as you need, really getting in there, and applying the right pressure for you, because everybody likes a different amount of pressure. It's the nice thing about doing the hand massaging yourself. So we're gonna start off with the inside of our hand in that muscle where our thumb is, because that's the biggest muscle in your hand, and that's what tends to get really tight from, holding a pen, holding your cell phone, typing, whatever activities you tend to be doing. So we're gonna start out doing really nice big circles, moving in the direction of your thumb and really towards the outside of your hand, starting with those big circles. Next, right in between right in that big muscle, going in between your thumb and your forefinger, you're going to find where it feels kind of the hardest and really give it a bit of a press and a little massage in there. Next, we're going to go and massage kind of the opposite side of our palm, again in little outward circles, applying the right amount of pressure for you. Once you kind of do this muscle, you can definitely tell that your thumb muscles are quite a lot stronger and sturdier than those. So it's really good to do all of it. Next, I like to move on to my knuckles, going all the way back and forth and then doing small circles over each knuckle. You want to make sure you're using the rest of your hand, so your other fingers, to support the hand that you're massaging as you're going through and doing those little circles over the knuckles. And again, these are such, small bones, small muscles that you don't realize hold tension until you start massaging them. So then I like to finish off again doing the finger pulls and massaging through in there, nice and slow. And you can see a little bit more here that I'm moving my thumb back and forth a little bit as I go. Next, you want to move on to your other hand. So again, doing the big circles in your thumb and on the opposite side, pinching in your thumb muscle and doing small circles there, going back and forth across your knuckles, giving them nice little circles over each one, and finishing off by going through and massaging each finger. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this and you followed along with the hand massage or are going to try it at home in the future. These products are available at verdesalon.ca as well as in salons. So we have 2 locations, one in Seasons located by the IKEA and one in Bridgewater Center.
We are very excited to announce a brand new series right here on Hue at Home, and it is featuring Susan Coos. She is a positivity practitioner and founder of Social-ish, and that's ISH. So what is Social-ish? Let's find out with Susan.
Hi, I'm Susan Coos, positivity practitioner and founder of Social-ish. I've been helping people improve their mental fitness and create lives they love for over 10 years now. If you've been feeling your mental health and well-being slipping lately, you're not alone. According to the latest World Happiness Report, Canada's happiness ranking has moved from 7th in 2018 to 15th in 2020. Our happiness is literally slipping away from us. According to a recent study by Mental Health Research Canada, anxiety and depression are at all-time highs, with the highest levels being reported in Manitoba, which is my home province, and our neighbors in Saskatchewan. We're being asked to move through unprecedented times, and our resilience and our ability to persevere with constant stress are being tested. Many of us are now suffering pandemic fatigue as we continue to isolate from one another. If I asked you, what do you think increases your chances of living a longer and happier life the most? Would you say quitting smoking or exercising or maybe even losing weight? These are all important, but if you said being socially connected and having strong relationship, you'd actually be right. More than ever, this is a time when we need to develop our skills in mental fitness with the support of experts, and of course, the support also of each other. This is why we're launching Socialish. It's an online private community that combines programs in personal growth and improving mental fitness. Some of the best personal growth experiences I've had were in small groups where I could interact with others who were also learning new skills under the guidance of experts. One of these was a 6-month book club where we moved through the discussions chapter by chapter as we peeled back the layer of our onions. We were supporting one another and we were developing our friendships at the same time. And our connections over the years have actually stayed really strong, and I'm still in contact with many of my friends even years later. I look back at this time fondly, very fondly, as it was the time in my life when I committed to my work of teaching and sharing positive psychology with others. This was truly a life-changing experience for me. Another positive experience I had when I took a 9-month course where I met regularly with other students online. We moved through the material together, we were learning and growing, but we're also developing our friendships. Some of my new friends were from as far away as Australia or Europe, and of course many were right in my own backyard here in Canada and the US. These are the kinds of transformational experiences that have been life-changing for me, and the kind that I want to help you create through Socialish. When I ask others who've moved through similar transformational programs, what was the best part for you? They inevitably say connecting with other students, the accountability of the program, and the high quality of content. The Socialish community helps adults who are struggling with the isolation of the pandemic to move through this time of constant change successfully and come out the other side even better than before. You can join Socialish for free. You can sign up for programs that you're interested in, and you can connect with others who have similar goals and are on a similar path than you are. Or, if you like, you can move through the content at your own pace on your own. Because after all, sometimes we're more socialish, and sometimes we're a little less socialish. The community is private. It's hosted through Mighty Network platform. It's not Facebook. And it's a place where you can find programs in personal development and wellness that can help you to successfully navigate the times that we're in. You know, there's no question we're moving through unprecedented times, and to do that successfully, we need to develop new skills and mental fitness to get us from where we are to where we want to be and to reach those really big goals that we have in life. And we can do this with the support of a community of peers who are on the same path as we are. So if you're curious about the programs and the community of Socialish, sign up at socialish.ca, socialish.ca, or you can also find more information at susancoos.com. As we move forward, we all have to take the next steps. and it's a lot more fun and healthier when we do it with others. So let's create a positive transformation and positive results together. I look forward to seeing you in Socialish. Bye for now.
Welcome back to Hue at Home. We want to give a big thank you to all of our guests on today's show and leave you with this question. How are you coping with the third wave? We want to know, so send us an email to hello@ilikehue.com or message us on Facebook and Instagram at iLikeHue. But for now, stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you next time on Hue at Home.
Everybody matters to somebody.